from the word mutar, b'shachor, v'oser b'lavan. He lights b'shachor.
In the morning.
No, not shachar. Shachor is a different word.
Black?
Shachor is black, yes. He allows black and he does not allow white.
Meaning you could send a black unfinished piece of leather, a shoe, but not white.
Right. Why? מפני שצריך ביצת הגיר. Because you need ביצת הגיר. Rashi says it's type of soil that blackens the shoe. And you mix it with water and it becomes black dye, and that's how you make it black. So because you need this bitzat agir to blacken it, that's why he disallows white. But already blackened is mutar, because you're not going to polish it further on the top. Rabbi Yossi oser b'shachor mipnei shetzarich tzel tzachor. Rabbi Yossi goes further to aser, to prohibit even black one, because you're going to polish it.
So then why does Rabbi Yehuda specify not to?
He's saying white isn't allowed, black is allowed, because he won't use the dirt to dye it. Meaning you could still wear it, because nobody wore white shoes. That's the emphasis here.
Is this also for Shabbos, Rabbi, or Shabbos is different?
Now, the other Rabbi, Rabbi Yossi, says no, you can't send black.
Shabbos, you're not allowed
Can't have any.
Gift at all.
You can't send white, nor can
Here,
you
you're
send
allowed
black.
to give. Question is which items. you're
Why?
allowed to
Because
give.
he's gonna polish it, you know, so.
So, but we see Rabbi Yossi is even black shoes you can come into. This guy's gonna take a brush and polish it. It's like but we don't pass it.
If Rabbi Yehuda's whole thing is that you can't send white because you can't dye it, right?
Right.
So why does he have to specify that you can bring black?
Because
It doesn't need to be dyed.
oh, you don't have to say anything. Black. So right away, black is good.
Yeah.
It's like
Why
oh,
is-
by the way, Misha,
why
I heard
mention-
about.
why mention that you can do it? Because okay, you can't give a white shoe because you might come to dye it.
Yeah.
But you're allowed to give a black shoe. Well,
Excellent question.
that's
Because of next statement. Because Rabbi Yossi,
Says you can't even send black.
she can't even send black. So if we would not talk about black, then we
You-
wouldn't
you
know
would-
what we're talking about. That's why we had to in Rabbi Yehuda say white but not black, so that we could say Rabbi Yossi prohibits black. But a good point, very good question. Last time Misha asked the following question. In Mishnah it says that you're allowed to send clothing whether it's already sewn, whether it's not sewn.
Fabric or clothing?
Fabric. If it's not sewn, it's fabric.
Uh-huh.
So Misha asked, why does it have to say sewn? Just say
Right.
you're allowed to send even non-sewn fabric.
Mhm.
So I would say, I thought about it, by the way, Misha. It's a very good question. There's two things you could answer. First of all, Mishnah sometimes wants to, it's a derech, it's a way of a Mishnah to elaborate a little more, even though you're right. We could have said, you're allowed to send even sewn clothing. That would mean even non-sewn, even non-sewn. That would mean even sewn clothing.
Meaning you could send non-sewn clothing. Which
It would say, you could send non-sewn clothing.
non-sewn clothing, right.
Then we would know that's sewn. But sometimes Mishnah elaborates, to tell you that. But maybe Mishnah is telling us
The exception?
that, maybe Mishnah is telling us that you should try to send lechatchila sewn clothing. Because what's the reason why you're allowed to send even
Because you
non-sewn?
can use
You
it.
could sit on it, you could, yeah.
Well, that's what we said in the Gemara, right?
Right.
But there is still a danger or concern that maybe people will sew it.
Shabbos, no? Oh, no, Shabbos.
Shabbos,
Something
no.
else.
Maybe they'll sew it. So maybe you should tell us the send
So,
sew.
So, but if,
But if you didn't sew it before Yom Tov and you polishing, you want to send it to your friend, you could send even not sewn.
interesting.
But lechatchila try to send sewn. Maybe that's the like extra point. It's like when you sometimes want to gift someone, you also want to make it the most useful. Okay, let's go on.
It's very interesting. Unsewn cloth you can send, but a white shoe you can't.
Okay.
That's very interesting.
Well, you could use an unsewn cloth, but you
No,
can't use
second
an
use-
unsewn
You could
shoe.
use a white shoe, why not? In the house, you can use a white shoe.
No one says that.
Interesting.
No, it's much that no one would use.
Maybe it
it.
sounds like you damage it if you don't blacken it or
Maybe,
something, you know?
something
Like it wasn't the normal thing to do.
Right.
Not even like in terms of like etiquette, in terms of like
Mhm.
you'll destroy the material for
Oh,
whatever reason.
interesting.
Yeah, maybe,
Uh-huh.
you know, like glass gets tempered or leather needs to get
Right.
so like, you know, polished or whatever for it to be like be reinforced. Maybe you just damage it other way.
Okay. So it says like this. Really, there's no machloket between. We just said Rabbi Yehuda allows only black, and Rabbi
Yossi says
Yossi
do
even black now, right? We see GEMARA says that really there's no machloket. Lo poligi. Mar ke'atrei u'matrei. It depends on which place in Israel you live. Ba'atrei demar basra le'tachat. Ba'atrei demar basra le'el. In Rabbi Yehuda's place where you live, there was this dirt was deep down. So you had to uncover, dig it out. But in Rabbi Yosef's place, this dirt that made it polished, like dirt, was on top of the soil.
the BEITZA
You
idea.
just start walking and it polishes it itself, the Bitzad again.
Mhm.
It depends where, on which level
What part of Israel?
it was. Yeah, on the ground. If it was high up, he allows it. If it was deeper down, they don't allow. Okay, let's go on. זה הכלל, כל שנאותים בו ביום טוב. At the end of the previous Mishnah, we said interesting general rule. זה הכלל. This is a general rule. Call anything שנאותים בו that you could derive benefit from ביום טוב is mutar. On Yom Tov is permissible. So we're gonna have now. Why do we have? Sometimes we have a list. This is permissible. This is permissible. This is permissible, and then we say general rule is anything that fits into this category is permissible. But if we already gave examples, what is this line? General rule is it must include something else that we didn't mention before. So we're gonna give some examples. Rav Sheishet sharalahu l'rabonon l'shaduri tefillin b'yom HaTava. Rav Sheishet allowed to his students l'rabonon to send tefillin on Yom Tov. Yeah, we'll see now that no. Tefillin is not, you're not allowed to put on tefillin Shabbat on Yom Tov. Not even Chol HaMoed. But Chol HaMoed is machlok.
Yes.
Some people do. But it says in the Gemara that if you are afraid of sheidim, of demons, you could put on tefillin and you will be safe. Meaning, in those days, tefillin wasn't just a mitzvah, it was also a remedy to save yourself from.
People wore tefillin all day, no?
What?
People used to wear tefillin all day.
They wore it all day, mitzvah used to wear it all day, but we see one interesting thing that the tefillin is not just mitzvah to Hashem. Hashem gave us tefillin
For you.
as a power. It's like a nuclear reactor. It could like chase away bad spirit.
Okay,
Today
very,
we don't
very
have that.
nice, but on Shabbos, you're not allowed to, on Yom Tov, you're not allowed to put it on. So, okay.
You know that? No.
That still applies today.
No, that was like this. On Yom Tov on Shabbos, you don't have to put it on, and because you don't have to, it becomes like a muktzah. You're not allowed to. But let's say there is a reason. Right now,
I see.
demons are attacking me, whatever they bother me. So now I have, and I have a way, a remedy to put on tefillin. So now this tefillin has a usage even on Shabbat, even on Yom
Right.
Tov.
That applies today.
No, if normally we don't.
If
for
you see
Hashem,
shaitim,
we don't have
If a
that.
person would have
But if
to
you
do it.
would, you could use it. Yes, you're allowed to put it on tefillin on
Then you have to
Shabbat.
go to a psychologist if you see
Yeah.
shaitim.
Yeah, you make an appointment with a psychologist, and if that doesn't work, then you fulfill it. But yeah, I think he's right. But that was the Gemara. Well, I think Gemara is not going to say this here, but we'll say like this: Rabbi Sheish allowed to send tefillin on Yom Tov. Amar le Abaye v'ha'anan tnan. Abaye asked Rabbi Sheish, but didn't we learn? V'ha'anan tnan. V'ha is always a question. Anan means us. Tnan we learned kol sheneotin bo b'yom tov mishalchin tov. He asked But we learned that something that you could use on Yom Tov, you're allowed to send. The sub text is, meaning what is it trying to say with that? That you can't use it on Yom Tov, and therefore, how could you send it?
Well, you just said you could use it, no?
Okay, you're right. I told you what it says in Shulchan Aruch.
Oh.
That Shulchan Aruch says that that's why it's not muktzah. But it said, I think it's now Gemara. We're gonna say a bigger chidush. Bigger chidush means that even if you would not anticipate using tefillin on Yom Tov at all, but you are not bothered by shaking, and you know that in your place there's no shaking, and this doesn't happen, like to the bios, we're gonna say now a svara, we're gonna say now a logic that's going to stipulate that even then we're allowed to send tefillin, even though we don't have the use. What is it? Because it says we learned hachakama kol sheneotin bo b'chol mishalchin ato b'yom tov. He said, I learned in the Mishnah, Rav Sheshet said, I learned in the Mishnah, kol sheneotin b'chol mishalchin b'yom tov. Anything that I could use even during the week, I could send on Yom Tov. So now,
No, but everything that we just said before.
it flies in the face what we said before, right? So Mefarshim explain over here, interesting halacha, that it means Chol HaMoed. Anything that you could use on Chol HaMoed, you could send on Yom Tov. But we don't put on tefillin on Chol HaMoed. So he wants to say that this shita holds that you do. And this is one of the sources, we don't pass like this source. One of the sources that you put on tefillin on Chol HaMoed. Amar Rabbi, tefillin, hoil, va'atul yodam nema behumilka. Rabbi says, tefillin, hoil, since, va'atul yodam, since we are talking about them, nema, let us say, milka, one thing about them. Let us say something about tefillin. What? Hayaboba derech, if person was traveling, utfilin berosho, and he was wearing tefillin, v'shaka alav chama, and the sun set. Now the halacha is that one is not allowed to wear tefillin at night. It says maniach yado aleich. Now, but he's walking. He's not at home. He is traveling. So should he take off tefillin right away? He says no. You don't have to right away. Maniach yado aleihem ad shemagia lebeito. He just puts his hand on top of his head until he gets home. Why does he have to put? Why does people have to put his hand on them? So that people, or actually explains that the people shouldn't see that he's wearing tefillin at night. We'll allow him to, not to take it off, but wear it until he gets home. Now there's another question. Why don't we say just take it off and walk?
And people will just say, why are you holding it? If they see him holding it like this, they'll know, oh, he's wearing it now, just holding it like this. Because there's no way to show that he's not just carrying it. Like by him doing this, people see him, they're gonna say, oh, okay, he's wearing it and now he has to get home. But if he's just holding it, he can't do something that people won't assume that he's.
I like your idea.
So you're assuming that people know that he can't wear it at night.
Well, they just said that you have to do this because so people will know that.
That's
he's not wearing it.
assuming people know this halakha.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
I guess in this time, I guess they assumed that everyone did.
Well, look, there is GEMARA in Brachot that says,
Never assume that people around you know.
no.
I remember learning you can't do things that might influence the public. Like they might see you, like if you have to go to McDonald's to get a bottle of water and there's a grocery store here, go to the grocery store. People don't know why you're going in there. They might think, oh, this is a kosher McDonald's.
Yeah, that's a true statement. That's a true statement. But I was referencing different GEMARA. GEMARA says that when the person is traveling,
You don't have to stop.
he does not stop for tefillah.
Feel.
He just prays
Mhm.
a shortened version of Shmoneh Esrei called Tfilat Avinu. And he, even though he's chayav to pray regular Shmoneh Esrei, he prays very shortened version of Tfilah, and he moves on. Question is why?
Not to inconvenience.
Because of safety. Because in those days,
Get robbed.
a person stops on the way, he attracts unwanted attention, and there could be bandits to prey on people. So people, first of all, traveled in groups. Second of all, they will just go without a stop. No question?
Does that apply if someone's on a motorcycle and Zman Mincha's passing by? Can they daven on a motorcycle Shmoneh Esrei?
The answer is no, you can stop.
It's impossible. I would not. I never rode a motorcycle, but for me,
That's not a good idea, it's safety.
even
Like let's say someone has an event in Queens, they have to video, right? And it's,
I get the picture. And basically, you're on the highway,
yeah,
and
no,
sun is
On
setting
your
down.
scooter,
know,
you can go with
you're
that
not gonna be able
no,
to-
Rabbi, let's say you're taking side streets and it's going through bad neighborhoods.
Well, now we're talking. Yeah, go ahead.
So in those situations,
Yeah. Okay, that's the fish.
Dude,
yeah?
with
That's
your
exactly how
scooter?
you want it, yeah.
With your
I can't go on the
scooter,
highway.
going
Go
through
side.
those neighborhoods,
I have to.
you're putting your life on the line.
I see that. So don't,
They've
yeah,
killed
you're
for
right.
less.
Let's not say anything that Michael's going to say. So basically, the answer is yeah. You just keep on going.
Well,
You'll pray 2 times a week. You know,
Oh, okay,
sometimes
fine.
you could make private. You pray 2 hours 2 times because it's very clear that in halacha that if you're traveling, it's a sakana, and you shouldn't stop.
And, yeah, get a car.
Okay, that's one. Now, I would want to say that this person will allow him to actually not to take off tefillin, but we're allowing him to wear tefillin for 2 reasons, and all of them have to do with sakana. First of all, we don't want him to stop to take it off. He does not want to stop. He just want to continue walking or
Travel.
riding, traveling. And second, maybe tefillin is going to protect him. We're talking about when it gets dark. Also, in all those days there was no street lights or any lights. So or flashlights in the cell phone. There wasn't something like that. So basically, if it gets dark, you don't want to delay on the street or delay on the road. You just want to get home before it gets really dark. So we say, don't stop to take off tefillin. Just walk, go with tefillin on. You're going to be transgressing wearing tefillin at night? Don't worry about it. Go ahead. Because
That's the right or the Rabbanan? That's the Rabbanan.
it's
not worth it.
So he's not transgressing that. Right? Okay. Let's go on. Haya yoshev bebet hamedrash. He was sitting in Bet Midrash with tefillin b'rasho. And thank you very much. And Shabbat started. In other words, it was Friday. It was Shkia time, and he's learning. And all of a sudden, it's already Shabbat. Meniach yado. Now he's wearing tefillin. He needs to take off tefillin. What do we say? Meniach yado aleim ad shemagia lebeito. He is allowed to put his hand and until he gets home.
Isn't that carrying?
Well, again,
Same concept.
he's no, if he's wearing.
It's part of his
whatever,
clothing.
Part of the clothing or part of your.
Even if he's not allowed to wear?
Yeah, even if he's not allowed to, because once it becomes part of your clothing, it's part of clothing. Let's say you're not allowed to wear shatnez, but you put on a nice jacket, like Shabbat dress, shatnez, you want to shoot. Does it mean that you wore it? No, it's still your, just because you're not allowed to wear it, doesn't mean that you're carrying it. Same thing with tefillin.
So you basically, it's an AVRAHAM, but since,
It's one averot, but not 2 averot. 2 averot would be carrying.
so making bracha on non-kosher food, basically that concept?
No. He's not gonna make bracha now.
No, I'm just saying, like, in general, so you're allowed to do an AVRAHAM, but you do, like, you're not getting 2, you're getting
If
1.
you, if you, for example, let's say you're eating on Yom Kippur. You're not allowed to eat on Yom Kippur.
Or if you have a tattoo.
But you
don't get
decided to eat on Yom Kippur. For
You
some
make
reason, I don't know
kiddush.
why.
You make kiddush.
Do you make a bracha on that food?
You make kiddush, no?
That's a good question, right? Do you make kiddush, right? So I just this past Yom Kippur I learned this whole sugya, and it's machloket rishonim. Some say you don't make a bracha. Some say you do. Rambam will do.
If a sick person, he makes a bracha.
You say anything, right?
No?
But some say no.
This applies
Really?
say for non kosher food. Someone eats non kosher food, they make a bracha.
Non-kosher, everyone agrees with it. Because on Yom Kippur, the food is kosher, it's just that you're not allowed to eat it. It's a day that's prohibited. So there's machloket.
Mhm.
Some say that you still have to make bracha. But non-kosher food, you don't make bracha.
Even if you're in a situation where the food would be,
If you're sick.
permitted to you,
No, then you do make a bracha.
then you do make a, okay.
Okay, let's go on. So we just said that on Shabbat, on Friday, Shabbat started, we allow him to walk with his tefillin home and take it over him. Metiv Rav Huna, Breder Rav Ika. Rav Huna, son of Rabbi, asked a question. Hayab Abadera, there is a different writer, different source, that says, Hayab Abadera, if someone was traveling, with tefillin b'rasho, and he had tefillin, V'kidesh alav hayom, and Shabbat started. So we're putting two things together. He's walking, and it's Friday, and Shabbat starts, and he's wearing tefillin. So it says, Maniach yado aleim, ad shemagia lebayit hasomuch lechoma. We only allow him to walk to the closest house.
Mhm.
In the previous statement, it said he could get home. But over here, we're saying to the closest house. Okay, we'll see reconciliation later. Haya yoshev b'bayit bebet hamedrash. V'kidesh alav hayom, maniach yado aleim. He was in Bet Midrash and he was sitting. And we allow him to put his hand on the tefillin. Ad shemagia lebayit hasamuch lebet hamedrash. He is allowed only to take it to the house next to Bet Midrash. So again, why in the previous right it says we'll allow you to go all the way home, but in this second statement it says only to the closest house. Lo kasha, it's not a question. Had mintera, had lo mintera. This is where it's safe in that house. This is where it's not safe in that house. Meaning, in the previous statement where we said go home,
It's not
No
safe.
Jews.
is because the other houses will not be safe for them to leave the tefillin there. But in the second statement, when we said go to the nearest house, that's because it would be safe in that house. Let me just check Rashi. Had the mintera be'oto habayit. Rashi says exactly that it's protected, safe in that house that is close to the Beis Medrash. In nishmarim shambo yitnem sham. If people will agree to watch it for him, he could live it there.
Where, the base medrash?
In the house.
next to the
Why
basement.
can't,
why
why,
doesn't he- yeah.
why don't you just leave it in the base medrash?
We're talking about this matter that was not locked up,
Gets
was not
stolen.
locked up. They allow it to do. Either law minter, so give us a list. Either law minter, if it's a place that it's not safe, like the first statement was, it's not safe. My area borosho, afilu machtan ba'aran nami. Why does it say that he has to carry it in his head? Even he's allowed to put it on in the first place. We're gonna see now another statement. Well, let's say you're walking and you see tefillin on the street.
Mhm.
What do you do?
Pick it up.
On Shabbat. We're talking about you walking on Shabbat.
Ah.
You see tefillin on the street.
Still pick it up.
So the answer is you put it on and you walk home.
Interesting.
While wearing it?
In the middle of the street, you put on tefillin on Shabbat. It's like
Isn't there a
your
problem
rabbi
with
walks out from
Mara
the shul and it sees you with the tefillin on Shabbat, right?
Rabbi, don't talk about
Oh,
that.
isn't there a problem with Mara
They're
dying?
gonna start dropping tefillin in front of our houses.
Okay, but anyway, so
Rabbi,
no, there's no maritime, nothing. We allow because of kavod of tefillin.
But if people see you with tefillin on Shabbat, they're gonna think like Krisha Payafan.
Yeah, I know. But okay, let's finish the Gemara. I know. No, it's a mitzvah for him to put it on and bring it to the house. Why? Because outside it's what if it starts raining? What if someone's
What if there's an
driving?
error? What if there's an error?
Then you don't.
You
We're
don't
talking
just
about
pick it up and-
right. Pick it up. So it's like this. So at the kasha we ask him like this. So we're going to ask the following question: what's the chiddush in the case where we just described that one of the Braitot said
Leave it in the house.
that it was not a safe place? The houses were all goyim's houses. Will allow you to, when you're wearing, go all the way to your home. That's not a chidush. The chidush is that even something that was not on you, you could put it on to go home.
Mhm.
Say a bigger chidush. Bigger chidush is that even something that, because we were talking about the case where he was wearing, will allow him to get home.
Uh-huh.
But say a bigger chidush, even if you're not wearing it,
Uh-huh.
you should have to put it on and go to home. The hatnan, because we learned in the Mishnah, hamotzeh tefillin, someone who finds tefillin, full length from the top, from the bottom. Machnisan, he is allowed to bring them in zug zug. Now, there is a bachlok how to learn zug zug. By the way, what does zug mean?
Pair.
Pair. So some say that pair means tefillin shel rosh and tefillin shel yad. That's a pair. Meaning if you find tefillin, you put tefillin shel rosh, tefillin shel yad, you bring it in, take it off. If there is more, we're talking about someone find pile of tefillins, 2, 3,
I
4.
have a question.
Hold
Hold
up.
on.
He puts in one, goes in the house, takes it off, goes out, puts in the second one, goes into the house. So each one he goes, brings in like that. But there's another sheet that holds that zug zug means pair. 2 tefillins. He puts on 2 tefillins at a time.
No.
It's a good question. I gotta think about that one overnight. It's a very good question. But let's just finish this paragraph because I'm a little nervous we have to finish. So why 2 tefillins? So because Gemara says that really there is enough room on your head for 2 tefillin, and on your arm for 2, not 3. It's either 1 or maximum 2.
But you have 2 arms, Rabbi.
We don't have the left arm. You're not allowed to put tefillin on the right
Why
arm.
not?
I don't know. That's the way Hashem said it. Hashem said
That's
on
the
your
mitzvah.
weak.
Why? For cover the tefillin, you could put it on. On your hands and your feet.
It's a good. Listen, that's the thing.
It-
You
it
could
has-
ask a better question. Look, why don't I just put it on every arm like
Right.
many of them? It's mashma that you have to put it on
Proper
in the
way.
proper way to do mitzvah.
But it's not a mitzvah on Shabbos. You're doing it for the cover of
That's
the
a good-
tefillin.
You're asking me, you're bombarding me with a very good question. I'm stopped. You're right.
You're not doing it for the mitzvah, you're doing it for the cover of the
To
tefillin.
cover the tefillin, right?
So you're just doing it not to carry, you're wearing it.
So why
But
not?
why do you have to put it on?
Oh,
the
I know
cover?
why.
Because the kavod of tefillin, you have to put them
I
on
know.
top.
If you are putting it in a non-prescribed way,
You
so
carry
then it's
it.
like carrying.
Yes, it's not
Exactly, you're
part
not
of it.
carrying.
It's
Ah.
carrying, but if
Yes,
it's in
yes,
prescribed way, at least you could claim that you're doing it to mitzvah. It's still a mitzvah to wear this, even on Shabbat.
It is?
Hey, Misha, Yehuda is here, good.
It is a mitzvah?
It's, we said earlier that anytime you put tefillin on, it's a mitzvah. It's just on Shabbat, you don't have to do this mitzvah, and because of that it becomes a muktzah.
Can he bring someone else with him? Or that would kind of make it like you're getting someone else to do it. Like,
No, you could bring
What was the
someone else.
last case with the 2 I?
Let's just finish off. So then it says like this. Hamaset tefillin makisan zug zug. When you bring in tefillin, you could bring it pair by pair. Lo kasha. We can say it's not a question. Again, the question was, why do you have to talk about the case where you're wearing tefillin to bring into your home? You could even put it on. Had the mintera machmat ganvi umachmat kalvi. Had the mintera machmat kalvi v'lo mintera machmat ganvi. In the first case, we're talking about where it's safe from
Damage.
dogs, but from dogs, it's safe. Once again, had the mintera machmat ganve umachmat kalve. In the first case, we're talking about where it's safe from robbers and dogs. So if it's safe from robbers and dogs, Rashi. Vashmina Gabai, the hoil v'lo mintra machmat gande me'achar she'en b'rosho ve'lechem ad beito. Aval im matzan sham b'mokom shehem nishmarim min ha'klavim lo yezizim minkumam. So again, what was the question? Question is really this. We said earlier that if you have a tefillin in a non-safe place, then we'll allow you, if you're wearing tefillin and you're in a non-safe place, we'll allow you to walk home.
Walk home.
Question was,
Why bring that case? Bring the case of, you learn out that you're even allowed to pick up something, right?
yeah, question was, why are you talking about that? Just say, again, Kasha was, if that case was not safe, my area birosho. Why are we talking about when it's in his head?
Mhm.
Afilu machatan ba'ara nami. Even if he found them on the floor also.
Because it's different, How would you learn that out from
Meaning,
that?
if you found them on the floor,
Put them on.
you put it on. Like we learned, hamotzit filin machasan zug zug. Okay.
So there's a bigger question. If the whole concern is being safe, and you have to stop, but you're stopping to put it on, so that in itself you're not being safe.
No. We're talking about, now we're not talking about someone who is traveling outside of the city and it's getting dark. He walked out on Shabbat from shul and he found food. That's now is not, but it's still not safe in terms of the street. The street,
animals
maybe there
will
was
go off the
animals,
range.
right?
So it's talking about saying, Shema, you put it on, you don't carry, you put it on,
If you put it on.
without a bracha.
So Rashi says, afilu machtan ba'ara nami, afilu la'achar shekidesh hayom, even after Shabbat started, matza'an, you found them, munachim b'karka, laying on the ground, hitiru lo chacholu la'anicha v'rasho v'lasniya.
Shabbos came in, and he still had it on. They let him walk
Oh,
home.
the first Kiddush was that even if Shabbat started, intuitively, what should we say when Shabbat starts and you have to clean?
You
take it off. We're giving a heter not to take it off until you get home. Because
Exactly.
it's not safe until you get home.
Uh-huh.
But if we have a mission that allows it not only
To put it on,
not only to keep it on, but even to put it on,
After Shabbat already
then
started.
for sure.
then say a big chiddush. If it's not safe, put it on and go home.
Mhm.
So the more answers to that, had the mintra mahmat ganve umahmat kalve. This is talking about where it's safe from thieves and dogs. Had the mintra mahmat kalve, but this is only safe from dogs. V'lo mintra mahmat ganve,
Not safe.
but not thief. Ma'odetema, what would you think? Rov listim Israel ninu, last line. Most thieves are Jewish, lo mizalzel behu, and therefore they're not going to mizalzel in it.
Steal it. Wait, what?
Most Jews are good. In that place, most
Jews are thieves?
thieves are Jews.
Uh-huh.
Let's talk about Jewish area.
Jewish area.
Comes to teach that it won't, no?
אבל אם מצאן שם במקום שהם נשמרים מן הכלל, הם לא יזיזו ממקומם. So therefore, since, let's say it's a place where there's no dogs. If there are dogs, then you got to put it on and run home to save it from dogs. But let's say it's a situation where
The people are.
there's no dogs. Somehow they got rid of all the dogs.
Mhm.
So when you have tefillin on the floor, the only problem is ganavim, not dogs. So in that case, if it's a Jewish area, you would say the Jews, they're not going to steal tefillin. Either if they're going to steal it, the Chabad is going to be very happy, they're going to put it on. Or they're not going to bother with it. They say, what do I need this for? They're thieves anyway. They're going to need tefillin.
Mhm.
Either way, tefillin is going to be safe on the floor in the Jewish neighborhood. In Borabak, tefillin on the floor is going to be safe. So we say, Kamash Malad, no. Even though there's no dogs, and everyone here is Jewish, put it on and bring it in.
What about the mitzvah of returning a lost object? This has nothing to do with this?
Motzei Shabbat.
I don't get the question.
You're also required to return a lost object.
No, you can't transgress
You
Shabbat.
can't carry, you can't carry, what do you mean?
Right.
There's no,
You
there's
find
no
money on the
right.
floor.
I don't know
Shabbos.
with it.
No, maybe
Or
after,
wallet.
like Mark said, but Shabbat, you'll check up the name, you call it up, you announce it, that's later, yeah, right. Maybe you'll do it, but right now, you gotta save it till, what night, have a great night.
Oh, I have a question.
We have to do it.
I have a question. What if the person who's tefillin, who owns a tefillin, is very like makbid about who wears his tefillin?
Later, bro.
See you.
Let me come closer to you.
See you guys.
Take care.
What do you think?
What if What if the person who, say you own, let's say you know this guy who owns his phone, happens to be on the floor, but you know this guy's market, don't know where
You
his
find
phone.
parking or something?
There's not even where his phone or something, I don't know.
Something like
Some people are market, but people touching, or germs or whatever.
I would say, I don't know exactly, but I would say he's still bringing it because, so what is market? The building right now requires assistance, it's a museum.
I invited, I mean, most people, not every,